rolling.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 177 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, that's website design, SEO, Google Ads, graphic design, printing. We can absolutely help with anything. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, which is bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a free review of your online presence today. We're also brought to you by Academy Safe, and Academy Safe is a nonprofit whose mission is to clean up the martial arts by advocating for background checks, U.S. Center for Safe Sport certification, and concussion training for all coaches and staff members at every academy throughout the United States and Canada. Mr. Ben Stark here, my co-host, is one of our newest members. Yay. ATT Palm Beach Gardens.
That's right.
Are you like the third accredited academy, I believe?
In Florida.
We're the
first. Only accredited academy in Palm Beach right now.
I love that. I love when you say it like that. That's
only.
Like so I'm the founder. I'm the executive director of Academy Safe. Rob Ingram from McDojo Life. He's the founder of McDojo Life. He's the executive VP, and together we're going to completely change the way people find and vet martial arts academies. Right? We want people to go to our registry and choose an academy that's going through, not only the background checks, but we've got 8 different things that we ask them to do. Nothing too crazy. Hey, have security cameras and AED. Train your staff on how to use the AED, first aid, certification, CPR, like all things that you probably should be doing anyway, but a lot of academies aren't doing. Yeah. And we always like to talk about, we include, business insurance. A lot of academies I know that academies were going through the process and people are like, oh, I've got to renew that insurance. Like they're not maintaining their insurance. So us doing this is helping them maintain that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more probably during the interview here today. You can check us out at academysafe.org. You can get your academy registered and use code JJD5, but it's JJDFIVE, spell it out. You get a few dollars off your annual membership. Again, it includes background check, which lasts for 2 years, Safe Sport certification, which lasts for 2 years, and then we'll help you get everything else done. We've got a great onboarding staff that'll get everything done for you. And then last but not least, thank you to our friends over at Flow & Roll, hands down the best gi and no-gi gear in the business. You can visit them on Instagram at flow_n_roll. Check out their custom designs they've created for academies and competitors all across the country. For gym owners, you can stock up on your gis and no-gi kits at flowandroll.com. If you're just going to order like a belt and a gi, you can use code JJD and get 20% off. If you're looking to make a larger order, definitely give them a call. You can even get your custom, like you got some guys fighting this weekend, right? If they want to get their logo, their sponsor logos on their shorts, or if it's a jiu-jitsu competitor and he wants it on his rash guard, right? They'll do a one-off of that. Awesome. You don't have to order in bulk. So there's a form right there where you go on the website that talks about like, hey, request a custom quote, or you can jump right in. He's got awesome shirt. I got a shirt on today. I don't have one of their shirts on today. We got awesome shirts, hats, gis are incredible. They've been with us from the beginning, and they've just been amazing. The amazing partners here, and also support Academy Safe. So I'm Milton Campus. I'm a black belt training out of Coral Springs, BJJ in Coral Springs, Florida. I'm talking really fast because we ran late, and we're in a new studio.
Hey,
we're in a new studio here in Boca Raton. Co-hosting duties again, Ben Stark. Go ahead and say hello.
My name is Ben Stark. I'm a third-degree black belt owner and head coach of American Top Team Palm Beach Gardens. If you are in the North Palm Beach area and you are interested in combat sports and you want to be the baddest holler at your boy. Come through ATT PVG. Oh, I cursed too early.
Cursed too early. Okay, wait till 15 minutes before you curse. Tell them about Fight Tape.
If you are a combat sports athlete in any way, shape, or form and you use athletic tape, use Fight Tape. You can find us at fighttape.us on both Instagram and our webpage. We just make high-quality tape, and we do it way cheaper than the big brands. Take advantage. Get some good stuff.
And check out his Instagram at?
Personally, MMA Coach Ben.
And Fight Tape?
Fighttape.us.
You could check out their awesome boxing videos. They're amazing. You've got these amazing ASM, is that what they call it? It's like ASMR,
I think
right?
It's just pack this order with me.
Yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, save, share, do all that stuff. Click the subscribe button. We appreciate all your support. And joining us today is Chris Ortiz. He is a first-degree black belt training out of Woodland Hills. Did you say it right? Woodland Hills, Texas, which is, did I say that right?
Gracie Baja, the Woodlands, in the Woodlands, Texas.
There you go. Well, there you go. First-degree black belt. Chris is one of the reasons we have Chris on today is we want him to talk about what he's doing to get jiu-jitsu into schools in Texas and hopefully beyond. So welcome, Chris. We appreciate you joining us today.
Hey, extremely blessed to have the opportunity, Uncle Milton.
Thank you again. Appreciate your patience. We are in a brand new studio, not too far from our old studio. So we just had to get set up. And then, like I said, Ben stopped for donuts and we were running a little extra late. So
just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
So obviously we're going to get to, your mission to get jiu-jitsu into schools. But let's talk a little bit about where you come from and your jiu-jitsu journey first. How'd you get your start in martial arts, and we'll go from there.
All right. So I was always a pretty good athlete coming up, and I think like a lot of people, once you get to a certain point, you're just told you're not good enough, to play at the next level. And I was fortunate enough to make it all the way to the collegiate level with baseball and rugby, but post college, it just wasn't in the cards. So I was looking for that family, looking for that tribe, looking for something to pour myself deeply into. And probably like 5-6 years after, found my local jiu-jitsu studio. Took me about 2 weeks to drive past it and work up the courage to finally walk in. But after walking in and getting that initial role, with a couple of guys that were, smaller and seemed to be less athletic than me, they proceeded to twist me up and fold me like laundry. I was sold.
Very cool. Very cool.
Rugby guys always like jiu-jitsu.
I was going to say the one thing that stood out to me was the rugby side. You don't hear about rugby as like somebody's sport growing up too much in the United States. I do have a nephew who played rugby in college, but it wasn't like a sanctioned sport. It was like more of a club. But he did that after he played high school ball. But yeah, we don't hear too much about rugby. Is that like a big scene down there in Texas, or is it just? I mean, like, was it a sanctioned school sport, or?
So I found it the same way that you said your nephew had found it. I played college baseball, hit the end of the road.
Okay.
And there was another sports family sitting there waiting for me to join. So I played collegiate rugby, and it's still kind of like an obscure sport, in the States. But what ends up happening is you get a bunch of like athletes that played other sports. And it's like a bunch of noobs, but, over time you learn, but the athleticism on the field is still like top notch.
Yeah.
Like football players, basketball players, baseball players, and we're all looking for something. So it's a natural progression.
Isn't it one of like the bigger sports in the world because it is one of those like international things? It's kind of like, what's the other one with the
lacrosse?
No.
Hurling?
It's like baseball, but like it's big in India. Cricket. Like cricket is like the biggest sport in the world, isn't it?
No, soccer is, but cricket's massive in India.
Right?
Crazy.
But I think, Chris, I'll ask you, I don't know how much you know about that side of it, but right, isn't rugby freaking like huge when you're talking about internationally?
Rugby's pretty big, especially in like the islands and Australia and stuff.
Yeah.
Agreed? It's pretty big around the world. Again, I think American football is the reason that it hasn't really like crept in to American culture.
But it's way better than football. It's so much better than football.
Safer.
I don't get it.
You don't get it?
I haven't watched a lot. I mean, I just see it. I'm just like, what is this whole, why is the ball in the middle of this circle?
Football minus pads, right?
Yeah.
And then no stopping between plays.
More or less CTE.
Arguably less because the games run way faster, and the goal isn't to hit hard, it's to get the ball.
Okay.
I guess. They still get smashed.
Yeah, they get banged up, man. Yeah.
Well, with football, though, the thing that where a lot of the injuries occur is that you have this false sense of security because you're wearing all this padding and helmets. And when you're playing rugby, that sense of security has been taken away, so you learn to hit people the proper way and to get them down the proper way versus spearing people, with the crown of your head. Yeah.
Oh, geez, right. So you find jiu-jitsu after rugby?
Oh, yes, sir. I did some other things, lifted heavily and like played a little bit of basketball, but there's that family atmosphere that every sport provides that I was missing, so this seemed like the next best thing.
And Chris, are you a teacher as well in your school district?
Yes, sir. I've been teaching for 22 years.
Oh, wow.
What a saint.
Amazing.
I wouldn't have the patience.
My daughter was a teacher. She works for me now. My daughter and her fiance, they're getting married in a couple of weeks. Woo-hoo.
Oh my gosh.
They were teachers in Virginia and they both left. They were like, it is so hard right now to be a teacher. I'm guessing you would agree, between just like, their thing was like between the phones and then the parents, everyone believing that their kid is entitled, or little Johnny would never do that. Like you've got 30 plus students in your class, but then you're dealing with 60 parents.
Oh, yeah.
You find that, Chris? I mean, is that a difficulty in your world, or is it different down there?
I do believe that, the educational sector is the tough field to be in. I don't think that the pay is where it should be at. I do believe like we're balancing like 20 plates, at a time. We're trying to keep our administrators happy, the kids happy, the parents happy. And you throw in that we're public enemy number one. We're a bunch of indoctrinators, supposedly. And it can make it difficult. But at the end of the day, I guess like when you're driven by purpose, and for myself, I'm driven by purpose. Like I like going to work every day, and I like interacting with the young people. And I've got real cool stories to where I've, been invited to weddings. Right now, someone that's helping me with my insomnia was one of my basketball players, and she's treating me, giving me medication for it.
That's
so it's kind of one of those cool things.
Wow.
That's cool.
What do you teach? What's your subject?
So currently, I am a teen leadership teacher. I've taught U.S. history in the past. I've been a special education teacher. I also coach. But at the moment, I'm a teen leadership teacher.
Okay. So now so you weren't busy enough.
Yeah.
School wasn't crazy enough. You decided to try to get jiu-jitsu into the school. Now, are we talking about as part of the curriculum, like a gym class, or are we talking as an after-school program?
All right. That's a really good question, though. So I'm looking to get it into the school as part of like the school day, in between that 9 to 5 hour, quote unquote. I've had people talk to me about getting it in as a club afterwards, but that's where my life begins. And when I get off of work, I'm tired and I want to see my family and I want to go train. And I really see the benefit of jiu-jitsu being done during the day so that these young people can be physically satiated. They can get lost in, a physical task that's equal parts, mental and physical. And when they get through with that hour and a half of just being able to make the world quiet, and shut down, and it's just them in their head, and the coach and their teammates, I think I can return them back to the classroom much better versions of themselves. And I think that we could really help with discipline, academics, social emotional, all the things that we benefit from as practitioners. I want to gift it to the young people during the school day so they can be better at the job of learning.
You just described like that drive home that we have after practice as adults, as men. You go, sometimes you wind up, I'm right across the street from my academy now, so I'm literally like 1 minute drive. But when I used to have a little bit of a commute, have to drive, like that drive home of just like no radio on. You don't even realize you didn't put the radio on. You're just thinking about the training session. But I used to tell my wife, if you want to argue with me, like, or you need something, get me after jiu-jitsu. Cause I'm the most like, okay, whatever, go with the flow. Like the stress of the day is gone. Don't come at me when you come home from work. Mm-hmm. And, I've worked an 8-hour day here at the house, and then there's a fight or there's an argument or there's something we really need to, like, get me after I'm super relaxed. So, I mean, that feels like the equivalent of what you're trying to deliver to these kids, right?
Oh, yes, sir. And one of the things that really motivates me and guides me in this journey is that, like, I get an opportunity to see all these, like, young people, especially our young men right now, that need help, that are looking for a mentor, that are looking to apply themselves, to something greatly. And as much as we love the sport, like, you have to keep the lights on, and it's an expensive hobby, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't want to – I see it happening in sports already where there's, like, a class of, like, the haves and the have-nots. And if you've been introduced to athletics at an early age, you have a better chance of making the school teams and then doing, more as you get a little bit older. And there's really good athletes out there and really good kids that are being priced out of athletics right now because it's expensive. The club ball scene's really blowing up. And, again, I'm looking at 2 gym owners, or at least 1 gym owner, right? Mm-hmm. It's an expensive hobby that we partake in.
So, Ben, I'm going to ask you, because you mentioned when you were on your way here, you actually had said you were talking to a homeschool teacher. Did you start your homeschool program in your academy?
So
And I'm going this is going to connect to this.
So we did the expo back in August. We started our homeschool classes the very next week.
What was the expo? Somebody teaching you guys how to do homeschool?
It was a homeschool expo.
Okay.
Where
at your gym?
No. At a college in West Palm Beach.
Okay.
And so it just had all services and things for homeschool kids. Okay. And homeschoolers still need a physical education requirement, and we fulfill that. Okay. So we set up a desk to take, leads, to set up a intro session to then hopefully kick off a homeschool class in the mornings. Okay.
And then will they be with you all day and do jiu-jitsu?
We are in this moment, we are just their PE class. Okay. They show up at 10:30, 11. They do their 30, 45 minutes and they go home. Go. Okay. I want to build a homeschool program within my facility. I want to hire my own teachers or teacher. I'm planning on keeping it relatively small, obviously. And then either the kids will be signed on for homeschool or virtual school or online school, and our people will be able to facilitate that. I plan on having language instructors. My wife's a fluent native Mandarin speaker. My go-to guy in this situation is a very good Spanish speaker, so we can offer 2 languages on top of jiu-jitsu and other martial arts.
Wow.
So if that pops, it would go 8-2.
Chris, has that been a consideration with what you're doing, that you could, it's super difficult to get into the schools, and we'll go into what you've done. I know you presented to your local board, but does that, what he just said of getting with the home schooling programs and making the jiu-jitsu their gym requirement, has that been a consideration for you at all? I know what you're trying to do, getting it in the schools, but it's kind of a little bit of a backdoor method of getting it at least to homeschoolers. Or at the very least, say, and maybe proving the equation.
This is approved by education by the state for this. Why not that?
Sure. Have you thought about that at all, Chris?
So if I'm being honest, the answer is yes, I have thought about that. The thing about myself is that I'm not really financially motivated or financially driven. The money that I make, it's not the greatest, but it's enough. It's probably twice as much as my single mother, raised me and my brother on. So again, I would always like a little bit more, but if I'm being honest, it's enough. It's enough for what we do. And I also teach inside of the community that I live in. So for myself, I really just want to serve the people of my community more than anything. I think there is an avenue for homeschooling. I was talking to a gentleman, forgetting his name, and maybe Michael Craigholm, if my memory serves me correctly, but he was pointing me in that direction as well. And I do feel that if I pursued that route, what would end up happening is that I'd miss being with the kids and the families in my community. And I'm a little bit of a rarity. I've been at the same school, for all 21, 22 years.
Okay.
I want to give it to the kiddos that I want to say that they can't afford it and need it inside of my community. That would make me, most happy.
Okay. All right. So I was trying to think of ways that we could work together with Academy Safe as well. Like getting your logo on the website, supporting you. We could do some blogs. Again, from, I wind up putting my marketing hat anytime I look at this stuff. Is like, hey, how can I help? What do we have of value that can add to this? No, not looking for any money either. Just, hey, what could we do to shine some light on what you're doing? But let's kind of start. We'll get to that question, but let's start with where are you now with the board? Was anything approved? Have you presented? Are you in kind of a holding pattern? Are you waiting for a decision?
Okay. So this has been a 3-year journey. In the first 2 years were very, very slow. And what I figured out is that if I didn't make noise and rattle the cage, that no one would pay me any kind of attention. People would not email you back. They wouldn't return your phone calls. And these are people that I consider friends, that have gone on to do wonderful things in education. But I think they're kind of afraid, and I think some of them are kind of ignorant as to what it is we actually do. When you talk about jiu-jitsu with some people, they do the karate hands. And
never had that happen. Hiya! Happens every day. No, just kidding. Yeah, you get the hey, hiya! I laugh. I don't even correct them anymore.
Sit guard on them.
But go ahead.
But this last year, I was like, what? I'm going to take my message to social media, because the people that I know and the people that I interact with, they see the benefit. They know the benefit. They've experienced the benefit, even just with their interactions with myself, it's proof positive that this is good for people. So this last year, I've been hitting social media quite a bit, and it's garnered some attention. And what that's allowed me to do is it's allowed me to get into some doors that were previously closed and locked and people didn't want to open. And when I got into the rooms and I got to speak to some of these administrators, you know, it turns out like they think it's a good idea. And you explain it to them and give them your vision. And they can also see, because they do the same thing that, you know, I do each and every day. They welcome in, 1,000+ kids into their school, and they see some that need a little something different, that need some guidance, need a little bit of physical exertion, need a mentor. And they're like, you know what, this is a decent idea. So I started getting some signatures. I started getting some green lights at the administrative level. And then I was asked to craft a proposal. And I crafted a pretty good proposal. And it started making its way up the chain of command. And there was like 7 rungs on the ladder. And we had gotten up to rung like number 4, number 5. But we hit a snag. We got to a point to where, and I'm not going to say any names because I value my job. But
see, that's where they have you, man.
Yeah.
You got to have your job.
But it sat on someone's desk, for a month, and I had to make a lot of emails and contacts to figure out like whose desk is this on, whose desk is this on, and it turns out it was a little bit closer than I thought, So I'm gonna let these people remain nameless, but pretty much by the time I got to the deadline where the budget meeting was coming up for the next calendar year, it was too late. I wouldn't have been able to put any more, sweat equity into the proposal and to add or take away anything I needed to before it got to the board. So we put it on ice for a little bit. I'm going to recraft it. I'm going to learn from my mistakes, and I'm going to make a much better version of it so that I can have it ready to go to climb the ladder and hopefully get a little bit further next calendar year.
Did they give you a reason of why it got stagnated or why it got just kind of stuck?
They get cold feet. When it comes down to actually like checking the box and saying, all right, let's go. Their ignorance on the subject, it starts to shine through. And when you offer some of these people like, hey, why don't you come in and actually see what jiu-jitsu is? Like, I'm inviting you over to the academy that I train at. I want you to meet the people, the doctors, the lawyers, the first responders, the businessmen, the mechanics. I want you to meet these people that we train side by side with. I want you to see the harmony. I want you to see the hard work that goes into it. And, they're not about it. I don't know if there's this is going to sound weird, but it's almost like the smarter that some people are and the further they're removed from, I guess, physical activity like this, the harder it is that it's to convince them. It's like they want to be the smartest person in the room, so they think they know better.
Yeah,
really,
100%.
You could put law enforcement right into the, like if you just took out schools and put in law enforcement, you're describing what has happened historically in law enforcement, where it's like you can't get it past certain people. Yeah. They're worried about the money. They're worried about injuries. They're worried about who's going to pay for the training. What if somebody gets hurt while training? Now they're out. Now they're on disability.
It's in the Army too. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's. I know in law enforcement, it's just like they need to get like the old timers out. Once like the younger guys who have trained jiu-jitsu are in positions of power, then it made it a little bit easier. And then I think, pressure and social media, like you mentioned before, have all been things that have kind of like put the foot on the pedal here for again, law enforcement.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Is your business getting lost online? Black Belt Digital Marketing is a full-service digital marketing agency that helps you get found, get leads, and grow. We specialize in local and website SEO, so your business stands out when customers search. Our website SEO makes sure your site loads fast, ranks high, and stays ahead of AI-driven search, so customers find you first. More visibility, more clicks. More customers right when they're ready to buy. Grow your business online with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com or call 9542-204932 today.
What I want to try, I'm going to do a little exercise. I'm just thinking this off the top of my head. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to act, I don't know jiu-jitsu, I don't know martial arts. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Let's just say like I'm a board member and you can do the same if you start to think of anything. But like from the outside looking into this, my concerns would be like, well, you're talking about fighting, Chris. These guys are going to fight. What would be I'm going to throw a couple of things like that at you. How would you answer them? Well, number one is, I'm going to have kids fighting in the middle of the school day. Why would you want to do that, Chris?
I would have to let them know that it's not fighting. It's actually a martial art. I don't know if the exact apples to apples translation is the gentle art, but it's one of the catchphrases that we use. So I would explain it as something that's extremely close to amateur wrestling, which already exists in the high school level, and a lot of our kids already train. Especially like in my area, we've got like probably the best high school wrestling team in the entire state.
Wow.
But, I would also like lean on the fact that through this training that we do, that it actually has like the opposite effect. It makes kids like less violent. Yeah. It satiates that need for them to move. It also satiates that need to kind of like find out who's the kingfish.
Yeah,
right. And once we establish like a hierarchy, I think there's less of a chance for young people to go out into the hallway and fight versus the ones that are feeling insecure, insignificant, and they peacock everywhere.
Yeah.
So since this is going to minimize violence because of the points that I had just made right there.
Yeah.
Now, do you want it to grow into an extent where you would take, say, the Scholastic team to New Breed Naga events representing the school?
So through my journey, one of the things that I learned is that we're not going to want to go the UIL route, which in Texas is the University Interscholastic League. It's the governing body. I was given some really good advice for some athletic directors in different districts that you should try to keep this as a physical education credit. Now, to answer your question specifically, I don't actually feel the need to have to take kids over there. If there's some kids that would like to compete, I'd be happy to do everything within my power to help them compete. But that's not my goal. I currently don't compete. I competed a lot, my first 2, 3, 4 years. I found the most joy in just being able to train, and train hard, but also train safely so that I can always make it back to the mat.
Yeah.
I'm going
but we're looking at presumably high schoolers, right?
So for me, this is part of the messaging is that I really see my window for these young people as being that 6th, 7th, 8th grade, because I don't want to invade the wrestling space. I want wrestling to have their parts of the pie that they already have.
It could really prop up the wrestling.
Yeah,
program.
I would think you're it's a feeder like the minor leagues to the
yeah. I've seen it with some of my friends' kids doing jiu-jitsu 5, 6, 7. They get to high school and they're like, I'm gonna wrestle.
Yeah, and then come back to jiu-jitsu later.
Yeah, or college.
And my high school coach, his name is Eric Spute, and he had the dual state boys and girls 6A champions. He's all on board on this. He even volunteered to give me the $15,000 mat that they have over there that they're not currently using. So, just to put it out there, our high school wrestling program is, green lights, all a go. Let's make this happen because it only benefits him and his kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Go. No, I was going to say, so I have an equivalent growing up in my area on Long Island in New York. I grew up in Medford on Long Island. One of our gym coach, our gym coach, our head gym coach, was a gymnastics instructor outside of the school. He had 3 daughters. They were all gymnasts. And he advocated and brought gymnastics into the school as part of the curriculum. So they wound up bringing it in. So like for 3 months, so like 1 quarter, we would have, when you went to the gym, you went to gymnastics class. And for the people that weren't that good, there were certain things that you would do. And then there was also an after school program. So gymnastics was an after school program. We didn't compete with other schools. We kind of like just competed with ourselves. Other schools weren't doing this. He got it into the school as a curriculum. And again, the gym was completely taken over, set up with mats and all of the equipment, everything that you see in gymnastics competitions. And then I stayed after school. That was my after school sport during that time. So it's possible. And again, look at the equivalence. It's like, oh, kids are going to get hurt and they're going to break an ankle and they're going to be doing flips and insurance, concerns. But they did it. I from kindergarten till I was 12, I did it in the school, and then I went out and trained someplace else. So from 5 to 12, I did gymnastics in school. Then he had a high school team. My sister continued on and competed on the high school team. And then at that point, there were other schools that they can compete with. But I kind of see an equivalency there. I see like there's some commonalities to getting this like a sport that everybody can't do, or that every school is not going to have a gymnastics coach. And he got it approved and into the school program. And I don't know if it's still there because I'm disconnected from that area, but it is kind of the equivalent of what you're trying to do here. It's like anything new is always going to be scary for people, but I do like the concept, and why not? Why not? Again, you got schools that do wrestling. We're so close to that. Yeah. I would be. When you say like, hey, come to the school and meet some people, in my mind, I'm like, we got some aggressive guys that, that I might not want to put on the radar of a school board member and be like, that guy goes too hard. And then they just like maybe see something that's just like off-putting.
I mean,
that would make me nervous.
Them to kids class.
That too. Yeah, I guess you could do that. That's true. True. You're right. If you brought him to an adults class, I'd be a little nervous.
How do your coaches
go ahead. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, well, you think about the things that we greenlight already, at the school level. Like we throw kids in football helmets and pads and over 100 degrees with the heat index, and they're getting concussions left and right. And, they're breaking this, they're breaking that, tearing ACLs. So for me, and again, I try to live a principled life. Like when I see that, and you can turn a blind eye to that, you can be accepting of that. And then on the other hand, you say that this is, kids could get hurt. It's like, that doesn't compute to me. I am 17 years in, and I don't think I've ever missed like more than like a month of training at a time.
Okay.
And I train pretty hard, but I think I like to train smart also. And I do believe that there is a world where, both can exist. We could play football. I don't want to take football away. Yeah. I just want people to have a choice, have an option. And interesting enough, a lot of people are opting out of football for the barbarics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go ahead?
I was just thinking, like, does the school have the time to allow, like you said, a 90-minute session? None of my classes in middle school were 90 minutes. I think they were all an hour. Well, 50 minutes.
You're talking more about your own 90-minute session. Or during school.
For me, when I'm talking about training, I'm talking about it in the context of my school day. We're on what's called a block schedule. So our kids go to 4 courses, and then each course is an hour and a half. Okay. So we have 4 blocks built in every day, and there's an advisory course also.
So is it like you'll see the same kids 3 times this week, 2 times next week? Okay.
So it would work wonderfully, in our schedule. And it's about, I think it's like 50-50 here in our district as far as block schedule and for traditional. Okay. 17.
So with the 90 minutes, that's awesome. Because if we're thinking about it, they got to get to class, they got to get changed, they got to get into the room, then they have to finish. Now, my concern, I'm a bit of a germ freak. I wasn't taking showers in middle school. No chance. No. Not happening. So for me, say my second period is jiu-jitsu, and then I'm going to most likely not shower.
Little neutral zone clean.
I guess, yeah. What about the kimono? Would it be like a school kimono?
That was my next question.
Would it be a standard?
Is it gi? Are we doing gi or no gi, or does it matter?
for me, I want to do, whatever it is that's going to help us get in.
Traditional. The school line, they want to see a kimono. They want to see a belt. They want to see progression, grading. And if we're talking about 3 years, I mean, they can't get a blue belt, but they would at least be in their mid-yellows.
Sure.
In 6th, 7th, and 8th. Yeah, for sure.
Well, what were you thinking that you started to say, Chris? You, whatever gets you through the door?
Whatever would get me through the door, because one of the concerns that continuously comes up is like money. And for me, to me, it doesn't seem like it would be the biggest hurdle. I have a lot of connections here in my community, and I know there's a lot of these connections that would love to pour into the young people, financially, like that being their contribution. So, whether it be gi or no gi, like I can make that happen. And it probably wouldn't even be on the school's dime. And if it was, it'd be very minimal. As far as like an allocation, like I'm already teaching. You don't have to pay somebody, an extra salary. Like I'm there in the school already. Right.
So
proper.
How does this scale up? And like we had, I think I introduced you to Danny. He wrote Danny Herrera, Officer Danny. Right. You guys connected, right?
But we did send on social media.
Okay. He did send a question, so it kind of leads me from one of my questions I had. I'm like, well, I think he maybe says it better. While you were in the process of getting jiu-jitsu into your schools, doing what you're doing, have you connected with anyone else in any other states that are trying to do the same thing? Is there anybody out there that's advocating in their school district before, after, or after they met you?
Yes, sir. So, interestingly enough, a day or two ago, I had a guy from Oklahoma reach out to me, and his name is Jarvis. I don't know if that was his first or his last name, but he had reached out, left a message telling me that he's currently teaching jiu-jitsu as an elective in Oklahoma. And I told him I'd shoot him a phone call over.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
There's another gentleman, Rayvon Freeman, that's in, I believe it's in Kansas City, and he's got the One Jiu-Jitsu Club, which is a nonprofit. And he's an old foster child that found jiu-jitsu a little bit later in life, and it's really helped him for the better. So he's doing things up there in Kansas City. Over here, I think, I'm forgetting the name, but there's somebody that's working as a nonprofit in Austin ISD. So there's these little, cracks in the armor where people are starting to, break through a little bit. But I do believe my vision may be a little bit different than theirs. Again, I don't have interest in doing it after school. I don't know if it would be taken as serious. I don't know if the kids would stay after school. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they have to go home and take care of a younger sibling. Maybe they got to go to work with dad.
And after school's a fee. I pay almost $400 a month for my kid to do after school. So if we're talking about, we never had to,
I don't remember. I mean, that could be different now, but I never remember my parents, other than, any gear that I had to buy that was my own. We never had to pay for after care. Yes.
Yeah.
After school sports. No, those were always included.
So I'm trying to do an after school program within my daughter's school. So after she's in elementary. So it would start at 2:15. You'd have your class go till 3:15, and then the kids convene for homework, tutor, and
at your location.
At the elementary school.
Okay.
So basically, they were saying I can get a classroom, gymnasium, whatever, and as long we bring whatever we need, portable mats, etc.
Oh, okay,
and then
gotcha.
we can have your class.
Do it
now,
there.
The parents would pay extra for that class,
but it's after school, so it's after. It's after. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
It wasn't the same as wrestling team where you just show up.
Yeah.
Football, you just show up. Aftercare, at least in middle school and such, where you don't really see those team sports where they travel around and do all that, it doesn't really exist. You just have aftercare.
Chris, has anybody, again, I believe in your mission. So anything that I'm asking is completely devil's advocate here. So has anyone spoken to you about, hey, Chris, this would be so much easier if you just made this an after school program? I mean, I would think that somebody's had to have said that to you. Yeah, it's going to be too hard to get it into the school, but we can get it approved as a club or a sanctioned sport after school. Yes, no?
I've had people, bring that up to me. And again, if I've learned one thing from jiu-jitsu, it's balance. And I value my time after work. I'm also a coach. So there's probably 4 or 5 months out of the year where I'm coaching, up until like
already.
6.
Okay.
But even then, like, I want to see my wife, I want to see my kids. I want to go train myself. Like, I teach all day. That battery is.
What about bringing in other coaches though? Is that, kind of an option? Again, if it was an after school program, I'm guess if somebody came to you and said, hey, we can't get this into the school as a curriculum, but we believe that we can get this approved as an after school program, just like wrestling, just like football, just like baseball. Again, then it becomes bigger than a one person operation. But I mean, is that something that you think you would buy into?
If I'm involved, I want to teach it. Like, I want to be making the impact. I guess.
Sure.
I guess if you could bring someone in that we could vet, and that we could say is they're safe. They go through all the things that y'all do.
Academy safe, yeah.
And they've got a decent amount of knowledge. I don't see like why not. But here's the deal too. I don't know if anyone's going to do that.
Yeah. Anyone, coach or the kids? What do you mean? Like, anyone's going to join or anyone's going to be able to coach?
I think you probably have trouble finding people, trying to coach at that time.
Okay.
I could be, but I know when I get off work, I'm not, I'm done for the day,
And what about what about academies in the area? Like, again, I'm thinking out loud here is like, okay, could we get schools to like opt in, get our kids in at, again, I know this part isn't necessarily your mission, but sometimes like I tell clients all the time, sometimes you got to let the business steer. And sometimes like, oh man, it's not the option I want, but there's an option that's appearing here. Have you worked with like schools in the area to get like maybe discounted or free, jiu-jitsu for kids in need? I mean, there are lots of programs here in Florida, right? Yeah. Where we even did, the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation for a few years where we were like awarding scholarships to kids, not necessarily needy kids, but kids that were like doing good things in their community, raising money for Tap Cancer Out. That little boy, Bridger Walker, who got bit in the face by the dog protecting his sister, like he was our first guy. Is that something that, again, that kind of plays into this? Again, I know you're trying to get it into schools. I'm just thinking about these other options. Are you able to like work with schools in the community and say, look, I'm not getting this approved through the school, but I got some kids that can really use jiu-jitsu. Their parents are just not going to be able to pay for it. Would you donate, a free class for 1 year or anything like that? Has any of that come up?
Well, I know like the school that I train at, Gracie Baja Woodlands, like they've been really good about that. Like they've actually tapped me on the shoulder on a couple of occasions, and asked me, hey, are there kids that need a scholarship? There are kids that would really benefit from this, but, possibly can't afford it or maybe just don't know how to approach it or whatnot. My school has, greenlit stuff like that.
Okay.
But on the other hand, like I was sitting and talking with another black belt the other day, and we were talking about the subject, and his gym is located right next to a high school. He was telling me how, they'll have a ton of kids walk through, come in, talk, but when prices get brought up, and it could be a sign of the times that just everything's so much more expensive. And even like for gym owners, like they have to keep the lights on. It is not cheap to have your electricity bill. It's not cheap to, pay your mortgage or pay your rent. It's expensive all the way around. There's a reason why it's an expensive hobby. It's not because, gym owners don't want to give back. It's because they have to ensure that the operation, stays open. So I do believe there's a world where like you could, get a couple of kids in here or there. Yeah. But overall, like gym fees are expensive, for a reason. And it's good quality instruction, but it's also the cost of doing business. It's not cheap.
Ben, you have anything to add to that?
I was going to say, I'm kind of surprised that your gym was like, oh, this is great, as opposed to, hey, man, if they're training for free at school, that's going to destroy our local kids class. Because reality is, unless it's specifically for the more financial difficulty kids, the kids that can afford it are going to be in that class too. And they're like, well, I already train 2 to 3 times a week. I don't have to join a gym. I can just train at school.
Ooh, I got one for you, bud. Because that's actually been one of the biggest things. My professor came up to me and he asked me, he's like, Chris, he goes, what you're trying to do you think it's going to take away, from our business?
Hell no.
No, it's not. We're going to introduce, the sport to more people. Now, the people that can't afford it, they can't afford a gym one way or the other.
Yeah.
But the ones that you can introduce it that have never been introduced to the sport before, but then have means, oh my God, you just opened up a floodgate of opportunity for business owners and then young people to go train.
It's almost...
It should work both ways, really.
I'm sorry. I mean, finish your thought, Chris. Go ahead.
I don't see this as I wouldn't even do this if I thought it would take away from gym owners.
Yeah.
I want to see our sport grow, and I think one of the ways that it grows is that you introduce it to more people. No one, like, if you truly take an interest in this, you're not going to want to just stop for my school class because there's not enough time in my school class. There's probably going to be quite a few kids. I want to add to
I mean, it's like it's the sport has grown. You know, a big part of that is UFC, right? The sport has just grown. It's almost like saying, well, if another school opens down the road, it's going to take away from me. And I get that. But what I've seen, if you have a good school, another school opening is only going to introduce it to more people in the community. And somebody say, I want to go to a school. And then they're choosing a school. So like my buddy's doing jiu-jitsu. I'm a kid. My buddy does jiu-jitsu. I tell Mom, Dad, I want to go to jiu-jitsu. And like, they might take me to a few different academies, and we're filling all of the academies. Coral Springs, where I live, is somebody wrote an article on one of the like more popular jiu-jitsu Instagram magazine kind of thingamabobs, whatever. And like, there's so much jiu-jitsu in Coral Springs now. It's like ridiculous how like there are so many academies, and the good academies have the packed classes, and the bad academies
don't.
You know, they don't, and you know the cream rises to the top. So I can't see a world where it takes away. More people doing something just adds to that thing, you know, and regardless of what it is. You know, if there was a knitting class, more people are going to go knit. You know, you have jiu-jitsu or football or soccer, more people are going to do those things, and they're going to introduce their friends and family members to it as well.
In the example, you know, that I'd like to cite is you look at the youth travel sport culture that's going on right now, and that's being fed by school sports. Like, it's this big cycle that keeps going around. It's like, oh, I'm playing, you know, sports at my school, so I got to go join my club so I can come back and make JV next year, and then I got to come back and like it just keeps feeding itself. It has blown the business of youth sports up. It's not taken away. We have more kids trying sports than ever, not less.
Just look at jiu-jitsu, period. I mean, look at where it's come from and it's grown. I wonder, has this, how would you say it? Like, since the UFC started is when like jiu-jitsu really blew up here. Is this bigger than, I was a really young kid in the 70s when like, it was like, you know, Bruce Lee and karate, and there was that karate scene. I wonder how long this goes where jiu-jitsu is the dominant martial art. Does this stop? The only thing that I see stopping it or changing it is that I've said this a lot, where the martial art in my mind is going to evolve into MMA. Yeah. Where you're going to train everything. You're not just like, you know, with no-gi, like most gyms don't even give out a belt if they're learning jiu-jitsu to fight MMA. Yeah. Right? I mean, if a guy in your school only does MMA class or only does no-gi, do you belt them?
No,
right?
There's no belt in your uniform.
It's already happening where
it's something I've been trying to play with.
is the martial art. Yeah, I know it's mixed martial arts, but MMA is the art, as opposed to, well, let me go do Sambo and Judo. Well, you can go here and do all of those things to get you into this cage. So I think that's the evolution of it, but I don't know that I see a world right now where I used to tell my old coach, you know, you really need to do some other stuff than just jiu-jitsu. You have it on the windows, but you only do jiu-jitsu. It said kickboxing and wrestling, and you did none of that. Actually, both of the first two schools I was at, they both did that, and neither one of them did anything more than jiu-jitsu. I'm sorry, we did stand up at my first school. We had a Muay Thai coach, but there was wrestling and there was karate on the window, but nobody did anything else. So I just don't see a world where the end is not in sight for jiu-jitsu. There's a huge window. And, you know, some kids and adults, I just don't like getting knocked in the face anymore. I'm too old to be getting knocked around. But I don't miss my jiu-jitsu class as long as I'm not sick or I'm, you know, working or whatever. So I just don't see a world where that ends. We still, there's so much more here so much more life we have in just jiu-jitsu being the primary martial art. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
you know.
So have you looked into Dubai at all? Because Dubai has jiu-jitsu as their national sport now, but it is in all of their schools from 6th grade through the end of high school.
Boys and girls, right? It's
Yeah,
right. Has that been something that you've discussed?
I've researched it a little bit. I cited it in one of our meetings with the administration.
You guys got all that oil money down in Texas, just like they do in Dubai, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Oh. But you know what? In hindsight, I probably should have done a little more homework when it came to that, and used that as one of my like golden examples. You know, and when I come back to the table, you know, a year from now, and I go through all the motions again, like I will correct that mistake.
What was the mistake? Can you talk about what the mistake was specifically?
I think that I probably could have used Dubai and the UAE as a much bigger example.
Okay.
I need to factor in the people that I'm talking to. I know my audience the next time. I think that's one of the big things that I'm going to go back to the table with is I know who I'm talking to at this point, and I know what it is that they're specifically looking for. And I'll make a much better case this second go around.
What you're speaking to the jiu-jitsu community now. What help could you use? What can the community do to support you? You know, is there anything that you can think of that you need, whether it's dollars, it's information, it's more examples like this? What do you need to help you with your mission here, you know, specifically in Texas, in your area?
Okay. So I think number one, if there's anywhere in the country where this is already, you know, taking a foothold and it's moving forward, I would love for those people to reach out to me and maybe help me with the roadmap that they used and currently, you know, what were the hurdles that they faced and how did they get over those hurdles? I think that'll help me out quite a bit. I think I have this petition going around, and I think petitions always help out because it's proof that, you know, people can get behind an idea. We were able to get like 900 plus signatures, you know, on it this last one. Even Jocko Willing, you know, he jumped on there. And
I remember you posted.
Yeah, because people like that, they their word carries a lot of weight, you know, and it's not just, you know, Joe Blow. It's Jocko, you know, and a lot of those decision makers probably got Jocko's book sitting on their desk right now, but it would help if I can get this petition signed. And then it would also help immensely, like people like yourself that are giving me an opportunity to come on a platform and discuss this idea and discuss this dream. These conversations, what they do is they put the idea out there into the ethos. You know, we've heard Joe Rogan talk about the value of jiu-jitsu, Jocko Willing, you know, anybody and everybody. But now there's a person that's trying to make this vision, you know, a reality and not just a talking point on a podcast clip, you know. So I'd love to connect with some people like that that can amplify, you know, the magnitude of the message that I'm trying to send. And I would say, like, look no further than my background. You know, there's nothing even checkered in my background. Like, look at my history, you know, as an educator, where I've been teacher of the year, I've been humanitarian of the year, I've been the Grogan's Mill Association, you know, person of the month or the year, something like that. Like, I'm not only like it's a good idea, but I'm also the right person to get behind, because like there's a history there, and I think that's important because when something like this, you know, pops off, you're going to have the right person right there so that they can't poke holes, you know, in his character, you know, in his past, that you can say like, hey, there goes a gentleman that's worked in his community for 22 years, you know, tons of accolades, academic and athletic, and he wants what's best for the community. His experience proves that.
Have people talk to you about like, hey, you should start a nonprofit and raise money and then push this further? Like, has that been something that
I would love to do that? I've looked into it. It looks like it's very cumbersome. Like I would need some assistance.
Talk to me. We'll talk about. I mean, I started the Academy Safe. It's not as hard as you think. I mean, the hardest part. Well, I own a marketing company, so it wasn't hard to do the logo, put up a website, membership website. You know, my staff doubled as like the staff for Academy Safe, and then people that I interviewed on the podcast became the people that I talked to about the idea first, and became our board members. So, I mean, it's an added piece of the pie, but I mean, if you've got any questions about it, we can definitely talk off air and you can pick my brain about it a little bit. And certainly love to support you from that angle, from the nonprofit angle. Like, hey, again, maybe throw the logo on our website, link to, I don't know if you have I don't think I saw a website, but maybe link to the petition from our website. We have a nice logo scroll. At least from the logo scroll, we can connect to that and/or create a banner on the website. And then again, sign our petition, put your logo, hey, sign our petition here. Something like that, could be helpful. Pennies make dollars, right? So the little bits add up. There's things that we can do from that regard, but definitely, like I said, from the nonprofit side, I can answer any questions you have and, kind of show you or tell you how I did it. And then, maybe there's some support that we can provide from the marketing company side, not looking for money, just to support you in that effort. If it's possible, it just depends on, I don't want to take over your vision. I want to help you with your vision. So, if there's something that we can do, let's talk about it. I'd love to help if I can. I believe in this. Again, insert jiu-jitsu into gymnastics. The example I, gave you before, I mean, it was the same thing. It was just not everybody does this, but somebody pushed hard enough and got it approved and it became, gym class. Everybody went to gymnastics gym class. That was it, period. There was no I'm going to skip. No, that was, instead of going out and hitting the baseball or, throwing the football around or whatever it was, we did gymnastics during that time. It was just it was part of the curriculum. So I've seen it and, it was something that, kept me fit until I stopped doing it. But, it was a great part of my life. I cite that a lot in my life as, that was my sport talking about kindergarten. I was doing this sport. There usually aren't I was going after school to gymnastics in my gym. That just didn't exist. So, I did it during gym and then I would do it after school. So, I believe this can happen. I believe in what you're doing and that this can happen. And if we can support it, I'd love to.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to do some mass takeover. I wanted just an opportunity to show that it can work.
Yeah.
I would like it to grow, slowly and organically. I don't want to water our sport down. I have way too much respect for our sport. This isn't, I need it in every school. This is, let's give Coach Ortiz one opportunity at one junior high inside of his one district, and then let's chart the numbers. Let's chart attendance. Let's chart behavior. Let's chart academic. And then let's see if there's enough, proof of concept to try another school.
Sure.
I want to service kids like myself growing up, single parent household, very little money, and like you're describing yourself, where gymnastics came in and helped you out. And I just want to help make the world a better place, because I don't know about you gentlemen, but America seems kind of crazy right now. And
nah, what are you talking about?
The only place, man, that seems to
We're so unified right now.
Seems pretty normal to me.
But the only place it ceases to exist is our jiu-jitsu academy, at least for me.
Yeah.
Right, and I know we don't vote the same way, but golly, we don't talk about it. We don't, it doesn't even factor in what we're doing. We come in, we shut off all the noise, we work hard, we grow together, we network, we have brotherhood, and for me, it's probably the most peaceful, hour and a half of my day.
Yeah, man.
Whatever I do. Why not give that to young people who are severely struggling and are addicted to phones?
Sure. Let me let's just switch it up for a second. We at the beginning, or I think right before we jumped on, we talked about you had a podcast. Let's shine some light on some of the other things you're doing. I know I saw something about a podcast, but I know you're involved with a lot of things in the community. You want to talk about any of that stuff, or shine some light on some of the things you're doing, including the podcast? I mean, great place to talk about another podcast.
Yeah, so I do have a podcast. I haven't recorded, though, probably in 6 to 8 months. I know that you guys, more than anyone, would understand that, oh, my God, it's a labor of love. It is so much work on our end to secure a guest, secure a time, secure a location, and then the other person can just, say, nope, I got something come up. And
cancel? No. You know what? Benefit of when we had somebody cancel last week. And then I was just I've been wanting to do just a one-on-one with Ben. I mean, he's got so much going on. Combat Night MMA. He's a commentator. He owns a gym. He's a wealth of information. And just I'm always looking. I'm like, how do you have time in the day? I'm tired listening to the things that he has to that he's doing. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. But the benefit of having the co-host is like, oh, somebody who doesn't show, which only happens once in a while. Hey, we still can, we can bullshit about jiu-jitsu for hours. We can just talk about it. So I get it. Though.
So I've kind of like just like put that little puppy, just let it take a nap for a second. I'll probably amp back up maybe in December when we get a big break.
And what was the podcast about? Was it about martial arts and jiu-jitsu?
Oh my God! So I just like talking to interesting people. So like through my jiu-jitsu journey, I've met so many cool people, like professional wrestlers that I've watched, go from the little indies to they're performing on TV in front of thousands or millions of people.
Yeah.
Doctors, psychologists.
Well, I got a list of people for you right off the bat. If you ever need anybody, I mean, just my board members alone, Rob from McDojo loves doing podcasts. I got a Secret Service agent on the board. We've got one of the biggest litigation attorneys in the country. Everyone other McDojo, Rob from McDojo is not a black belt, but everyone else on the board is a black belt in jiu-jitsu, but also have these amazing careers outside of jiu-jitsu. So, again, Secret Service agent, who doesn't want to talk to a Secret Service agent on a podcast. So if you do ramp it back up and you need guests, reliable guests, right there, my board alone, but also I've just met a ton of people, man, that would, like, I know who's reliable and who's not. I know who the cancelers are, or, hey, can we postpone this? I'd hook you up with good guests that are incredibly reliable. And also, like, if you wanted to do other podcasts, I mean, you've got access to the same guys I do, but there's some guys, like, I've done their podcast, they've done ours. We've kind of exchanged some stuff. And again, like, they're great places to be talking about, especially getting jiu-jitsus into the schools. I've, got people that I can introduce you to as well on that front. All of my board members have gone through that route of all the guys that I know and have done their podcasts. So,
yeah, I'd love to, talk to some of those people on my podcast or even go on their podcast. Like, conversations are good.
Yeah.
I think that's the secret sauce of what we do. Like, we do it for the conversation, and that's probably the biggest motivator. But something else I do, I'm also a children's book author. So I've written 7 books.
7?
Damn.
Wow. About?
So they're about different things. My last one that I just released about a month or so ago is about like the journey and the flight of shelter animals. All the animals that we've adopted in my house. I think we've had like 10 of them. Like, they've all been shelter animals, or they've been rescues that we found, on the road. So kind of like a Dr. Seuss kind of rhyme scheme, but I think it's almost written for adults and kids. I'm trying to encourage people to buy shelter animals, by making them sad.
Mm-hmm. I've got a rescue dog. I've got a rescue dog.
Me too.
2 years old now.
10.
He's awesome.
The best, right?
Trooper.
The book before that was a martial arts book called Flow State. And I went around to all the gyms in Houston where my buddies, they own or they work at. I took some photos and used some of them and their clients as inspiration. And it's a book, written, for kids. And it talks about the different life lessons that martial arts, instills upon our young people. And again, I have like a rhyme scheme that I like to work with, but a bunch of other stuff, I have a book told from the perspective of a coach and what I want my athletes to know. I've got a book told from the perspective of a teacher and recognizing those wayward kids that get into trouble a lot of time, but really there's like some hidden talents that maybe school does not allow them to shine, because you got to kind of put kids in a box, unfortunately, to make 30 people in one room work. So there's all kinds of things. Book about my mom, book about my father, etc.
Very cool, man. Anything else you want to add? Throw out some your social media handles. I'll give you a minute to promote anything else that you want to promote, and again, share any social media handles or anything where people can find, or even where can they sign off on the petition online? Yeah.
So my name is Chris Ortiz. I go by Coach Ortiz. You could probably find me on IG at Chris Ortiz 3946. You can find me on Facebook. Just Chris Ortiz, or you could just go to my website, coachortiz.com, and all my socials.
Shit, how'd you get that? How'd you get that domain? That Seriously? Wasn't gone? Yeah, that's a good one.
I had a really good website designer, my buddy, brown belt, four stripe brown belt, Justin Phineas. created for me. So if y'all take a look at it and y'all like it, holler at Justin.
Does it have everything that you're doing? Can you get to everything, your books? And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, has everything? Cool. Good.
Cleaned it up.
We'll put that on the screen. Bo, don't forget to put Chris Ortiz. CoachOrtiz.com. We'll throw that on the screen under your name.
Yeah, but more than anything, if there's anyone that can help me amplify this message and conversate with me and get this out into the ethos so that it's more than just an idea, and so that this idea, it hits more people's ears, I would love to talk to you about it. And
awesome.
Other than that, thank you, Milton. Thank you, Ben, for giving me 2 hours of your time on this Friday.
Anytime, man. Let's do it again when you're like getting ready to present again, or after you present. You know, let's make sure we keep this.
Let's
put
this your presentation on the show.
Yeah, man. And I apologize. We crossed wires on. I'm thinking I'm waiting on you to tell me when you were going to come down, and you were waiting for me to tell you when to come. My bad on that. I just completely, look, I get backed up with requests to come on the show. I'm like literally answering people sometimes months after they sent messages because there's just too many to get to. It's just very difficult. I do the booking, but we're only doing 2 a month right now. So you said it before. It's could be keep you busy, but it feeds everything else that we're doing. So, I don't want to not do it. I love talking about jiu-jitsu. I love coming here with Ben and doing this, but at the same time, it does, we've got to come record. We've got to book the guests. We've got to put it out. What I was going to tell you is, okay, so number one, this will come out next week, sometime probably by Wednesday of next week. And then we'll do for a couple of months after, we'll be promoting with, reels and shorts on YouTube, things like that. So definitely we'll invite you to collab on any of that stuff, push that out on your end as well. It's just going to help, again, like you said, amplify the message. So we'll do a good job promoting for some time after. We run ads for the podcast. We do the reels. So once we launch, you're going to be seeing videos for months down the line of, clips from the show, us talking, you talking, that stuff. You've seen it already. So yeah, we'll definitely be putting that stuff out there. Anything you want to leave off? Because we're going to start to wrap it up.
I have a question for you. Do you have any suggestions for people like yourself or myself that might want to try and get something moving in their community or in their school system that you've already dealt with that might be an early on hurdle?
I think, man, if we can make jiu-jitsu more mainstream and get into the eyes of the general audience, whether it be through conversation, we are 3 gentlemen having a conversation. And I think what we're doing is that we are, whatever stereotypes there are about martial arts or, mixed martial arts or jiu-jitsu, I think we're shattering them by, having a reasonable conversation. Maybe our facade, I'm looking at you, obviously you're jacked, you got all the tattoos on you, good beard, but someone...
I think he's talking about you.
Hey.
When he said jacked, I thought it was me, and then he said all the tattoos, and I'm like, oh, he must be talking about Ben.
Hell yeah.
Ben's got smaller, I think. I don't know what's going on with Ben.
Trying to get smaller.
He hasn't been working out as much lately.
I haven't. The testosterone.
He doesn't look as swole as he normally does.
I'm going to go do some push-ups in the parking lot.
It's very easy to, look at y'all guys and then just think the worst, and... No, it's you got to give people an opportunity. No, I did.
The guys that I know that do martial arts are, for the most part, some of the most gentlest, nicest people I've met in my entire life.
Well, yeah, we spend hours a day strangling people.
But they might not. They probably weren't always like that. I wasn't always like that. And what jiu-jitsu brings to the table, what martial arts brings to the table is a couple things, right? Number one, like you said before, you get it out. You get that aggression out at the end of the day. You're getting out the pressure of the day, the stress. But, there's just this thing that you realize that you're not the baddest dude in the room. It's very, very humbling. And you start to, that the bully that goes to jiu-jitsu who winds up being the sweetest guy, the kid, I've seen that happen where they're just yeah, man, you're not the baddest dude. And then you don't know who knows martial arts. And a lot of these things start to go through your head. When there's you feel like maybe you want to start a fight. You don't feel like that anymore once you start doing martial arts. I know, I started in my 40s, but I know that for me, I was going out. I was a knucklehead. I was still in the clubs till I was in my late 30s. And I thought I was the baddest guy in the room. And I started training jiu-jitsu. And I'm just I am not the baddest guy in the room. You don't know who knows what. Yeah. And I'm just going to keep my mouth shut over here, drink my beer, and freaking hit on this girl over here. I have
a quick theory.
We got to wrap it up, guys. We got to wrap it up.
Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Is your business getting lost online? Black Belt Digital Marketing is a full-service digital marketing agency that helps you get found, get leads, and grow. We specialize in local and website SEO, so your business stands out when customers search. Our website SEO makes sure your site loads fast, ranks high, and stays ahead of AI-driven search, so customers find you first. More visibility, more clicks. More customers right when they're ready to buy. Grow your business online with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com or call 9542-204932 today.
Okay, my quick theory. It's oxytocin. You're supposed to hug your girl for 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Just you're literally embracing for 5 minutes at a time. You're on oxytocin overload. You're just super happy. You're on like light ecstasy.
I have used the example that for some people, adults included, adults and children, this is the only human touch that they might have in a day. You know, I'm divorced. I work from home. And that's like sometimes the only time I'm touching another human 100%. Is when I hug my brothers and then I try to break their arms, right? You know, we're trying to choke each other out. So, I mean, I'm not a lonely person, but I mean, imagine a guy that's like a kid that's lonely or, you know, just doesn't have any love from the parents. This is as much love as they get in any given day. So I believe in that. Yeah. I've used that as an example of the beauty of jiu-jitsu. So,
agreed.
All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. Chris, listen, man, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you again. Come back on. Let us know what's going on. We'll truly work and communicate on a time to come to Florida. I'd love to have you come down. I'd love to have you come train with us. We can go up to Ben's place. You can come to mine, but we can do the podcast here and just, you know, make sure you come into like the Fort Lauderdale, probably, right? Fort Lauderdale or West Palm Beach Airport. Come into either one of those. The podcast is in Boca, so we can talk about that, but get you down here. Make it a family trip, I think you said is what you wanted to do, but get you in here and we could talk more. It's always a different vibe in the studio, but again, thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming in. For our listeners out there, obviously, right, you can check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies for all the ways to watch, listen, and support. My personal IG is Uncle Milty BJJ.
MMA Coach Ben on Instagram. Don't forget to check out fighttape.us. Like, follow, subscribe.
And you never mention you got to mention your academy, brother.
I keep them separate. I have so much shit to talk about. I'm very sorry.
At ATTPBG.
Yep.
Right.
Alpha Tango Pi Beta Gamma. Write that
If
down.
you are in the Palm Beach area, great place to train.
Anywhere in North Palm.
Ben doesn't say it enough. He is a great follow. He's an incredible coach. You watch his videos done a little differently than the other people that are putting it out, like kind of like somebody's just recording you while you're doing your regular training. It's not like you talking to the camera, doing it, you know, like the new school social media, like people, you're doing it a little bit more old school. You're showing a move and you can see you teaching it to people in real time. I really like it. I think that your social media is amazing. Thank you. If it's not growing, it's definitely overlooked. So we got to like beef it up a little bit. All right, guys. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu.
Oh.